You have been doing this your entire life. Every year the month arrives. You stop eating. You stop drinking. Your stomach growls and your throat dries up. And if someone asks you why, you give the same standard answer. To feel the pain of the poor. But what if that isn't the reason at all? Think about it. If empathy for the hungry was the primary goal, why are the starving mandated to fast? Why would a person who hasn't seen a full meal in weeks be commanded to abstain even further? The truth is, most of us are starving our bodies while our souls are essentially asleep. We are performing a ritual whose full power we cannot comprehend. You are performing the ritual, but are you achieving the result? There is a massive void in our understanding. We treat fasting like a seasonal diet, but in the realm of the unseen, it is a biological and spiritual war. Tonight, we wake up. Are you ready to see what is actually happening inside you? In the second surah of the Quran, the decree is anchored, "O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you, so that you may attain Taqwa." We hear this verse every year. But have you ever stopped to ask, why? How, logically, does a physical empty stomach translate into a spiritual shield? Why does the act of not eating increase Taqwa more effectively than any other form of worship? Why didn't Allah say, pray so that you may gain Taqwa, or give charity so that you may gain Taqwa? There is a specific, surgical link between the hunger of the belly and the protection of the soul that is rarely highlighted in madrasa. Today we decode the 7 secret anchors of the fast. These are the real reasons the heavens are opened for the month of Ramadan. We will move from the building of an internal fortress to the literal imitation of the angelic state. By the end of this journey, you will never look at a glass of water the same way again. Your hunger will no longer be a burden, it will be your weapon. Most people believe prayer is the highest form of remembrance. But look closely. When you pray, you are in the presence of the divine for 10, perhaps 15 minutes. Then you say the salam, and you walk back into the world. The connection is broken by the noise of life. Fasting is different. Fasting is the only worship that occupies every single second of your day. You cannot finish a fast until the sun sets. Whether you are working, sleeping, or talking, you are in a state of continuous worship. Think about this. In prayer, you remember Allah because you are moving your body in a specific way. In fasting, you remember Allah because of what you are not doing. Every time your stomach growls, it is a reminder. Every time your throat feels like sandpaper, it is a reminder. In prayer, the remembrance is a visit. In fasting, the remembrance is a residency. It builds a quality of mind where Allah is not just a thought, but a constant, everlasting reality. Why does this matter? Because it trains the brain to keep Allah in the room when the bedroom door is closed. It builds the shield. But once you attain such an impenetrable shield, is there a way to elevate yourself any further? Is there more to know about the creature who carries it? Man is a strange paradox. We are made of the dust of the earth, but we contain the breath of the divine. We are caught between the beast and the angel. The beast eats, drinks, and procreates. The angel does none of these. When you fast, you are intentionally breaking your contract with your animalistic side. For 16 hours, you resign from being an animal. You stop the intake. You still the desires. In these moments, you are temporarily elevating your status to match those in the higher realms. You are, for a few hours, the spiritual equal of those who have been in a state of prostration for 1,000 years. You are imitating the inhabitants of the 24-hour prostration, beings who require no fuel other than the light of their Lord. You are proving that you are more than a biological machine fueled by consumption. You are a spirit. By denying the hunger of the earth, you ignite the luminosity of the heavens. But is this celestial elevation just a spectacle for people to witness? Or is there another key ingredient to even surpass the angels? Every act of worship can be faked. You can pray so people think you are pious. You can give charity so people call you generous. You can go to Hajj and post the photos. But you cannot show off a fast. The beauty of this worship is its absolute invisibility. You walk through the marketplace, You sit in your office, you talk to your friends, and no one knows. You are carrying a secret treasure inside you. If you go into a private room and drink a glass of water, no human being on earth would know. The only reason you don't drink is because of the Lord of the worlds. But why this level of secrecy? It's because fasting is the only worship that exists in a private chamber. There are no witnesses to applaud you and no audience to impress. It is a secret kept between the lover and the beloved. This is the profound mystery behind the sacred hadith, where Allah declares, "Fasting is for me, and I am the one who rewards it." Think about that. Every other good deed has a standard exchange rate handled by the angels, but for the faster, the King of Kings pushes the representatives aside. He says, "This one is for me alone, and I will hand-deliver the reward myself." Do you want the cheap applause of the people, or a personal hand-given gift from the most merciful? And what good is a secret treasure if you don't have the strength to guard it? What use is a royal reward if you are a prisoner within your own skin, unable to command your own limbs? We live in an age of yes, see the food, eat it. See the notification, click it. Feel the anger, shout it. We have become slaves to our impulses, like leaves in a gale, tossed by every whim of our nafs. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, warned us about this hollow existence when he said, "The incapable one is the one who lets his soul follow its desires and then has false hopes in Allah." It is a dangerous delusion to expect the prize without ever entering the ring. Fasting is the military drill that breaks this cycle. It is the sacred art of the no. If you can say no to the very elements that keep you alive, water and food, how much easier does it become to reach for the no when faced with a forbidden look? How much easier is it to say no to a lie? This is the divine formula for safety. Allah tells us in the Quran, "But as for him who feared standing before his Lord and restrained the soul from its desire, then indeed paradise will be his refuge." If you can control the stomach, you can command the soul. If you cannot, you are merely a hostage to your own biology. Fasting doesn't just feed the spirit, it gives you the keys to your own handcuffs. But why must the path to the soul start at the gates of the stomach? What link is there between the two that is so important to know? There is a physiological secret the ancient scholars understood. A full stomach is a heavy heart. When the gut is crowded, the spiritual light of the soul is dimmed. We must realize that digestion is an expensive process. When the body is busy processing the worldly materials, it has no energy left to reach for the heavens. It makes the mind foggy, the limbs heavy, and the soul lazy. The Prophet, peace be upon him, warned us of this stagnation, noting that a human being fills no vessel worse than his stomach. We treat our bodies like garbage trucks, yet we are told that a few mouthfuls to keep the spine straight are sufficient for the journey. An empty stomach is not a void. It is a sharp instrument. It is alert. It is awake. When you fast, your body ceases to be a factory processing waste and begins to function as a temple for thought. It operates at a higher level. All senses are heightened. You will find that the most profound insights arrive when the physical body is at its leanest, adhering to that divine proportion of 1/3 for food, 1/3 for drink, and 1/3 for air. By leaving that space for breath, you are creating a landing strip for revelation. But if we are creating this void in the stomach, what is it that we are actually trying to make room for? Is there a type of divine sustenance that we crave? Just as the body needs bread and water, the soul demands its own sustenance. But the soul is a celestial traveler. It cannot eat physical matter. The soul feeds exclusively off nur, spiritual light. We spend 11 months of the year obsessed with the nutrition of the body. We count calories, we look for protein, we seek out flavors. Meanwhile, the soul is starved. It is skeletal. It is dying of thirst. Fasting is the strategic process of shutting down the body's kitchen so the soul can finally sit at the table. It is the great migration from the physical to the metaphysical. Fasting is the food of the soul. The hunger you feel in your belly is merely a physical translation of the deep, agonizing hunger your soul feels for its creator. When you stop the physical food, you finally allow the spiritual food, the Quran, the zikr, the prayer, to actually be absorbed. You are no longer just surviving, you are finally beginning to feed. But if the soul is to finally take its seat at the table, what happens to the tyrant that has been occupying it all year? The nafs, your lower self, is not a friend to be reasoned with. It is a wild, predatory animal. It is inherently arrogant, convinced that it is the center of the universe. This is the reality described in the Quran. Indeed, the soul is a persistent enjoiner of evil. It is this part of you that demands you scroll for hours in a dopamine trance, that keeps you gaming through the night, and that flinches at the thought of sacrifice. Every other form of discipline attempts to negotiate with the nafs, but hunger does not negotiate. Hunger humbles it. Think of your lower self as a wild horse. If you feed it without limit, it becomes too powerful to restrain. It will eventually throw you off and gallop toward the cliff of sin. Fasting is the process of putting that horse on a leash. By thinning the strength of your lower desires, you allow your intellect and your heart to finally take the reins. You are starving the fuel of its arrogance and teaching it a hard, necessary truth. It is not the master, it is the servant. When the belly is empty, the ego loses its megaphone, and for the first time you can finally hear the whisper of your heart. So the next time you feel that pang of hunger, think of your soul. Think of the layers of rust being scrubbed off your heart. Think of the angels watching you, marveling at a creature of clay that has chosen to act like a creature of light. You aren't just skipping lunch. You are participating in an ancient divine rebellion against your own lower nature. You are reclaiming your identity as a servant of the Most High. Look inward. Is your fast a diet? Or is it a transformation? The hunger will pass. The thirst will vanish. But the person you become in the heat of that struggle, that person remains. The sun is about to set. The question is, will you be the same person when the water touches your lips? Decode the struggle. Find the king.